Everybody, and welcome back to another part in my dialing in series for our Line 6 Helix. This week, or this episode, I am going to take a look at a tone that I always kind of, I don't know if it was a tone I really was crazy about, but more just a song I grew up listening to. And I've done Metallica dialing in video in the past for Inner Sandman, I think, but this time I'm going to go back to slightly earlier Metallica for Master of Puppets. And I remember learning this song when I was in grade 7 or 8 or something. I think I played it in front of our school in the gym or something along those lines. It was a big deal back then to be able to play Master Puppets. So anyways, fun old story. But I always loved the Master Puppets album, and Master Puppets song was just killer as far as I was concerned. And Kirk Hammett's sort of crazy out of control solo was always this sort of untouchable thing. But so I'm going to take a crack at doing like a sort of Master of Puppets-ish style tone. I do have a performance video up. I found a good backing track from the folks over at Lick Library. The problem with it was the intro didn't have any rhythm guitar on it other than the shots. But once the whole band kicks in, they had a little bit of a rhythm guitar in there. So what you'll hear is this tone alone in the intro. And then later it's kind of doubled with their tone. But it gives you an idea of what it sounds like anyways. It was a fun performance. And the guitar solo I did is the lead snapshot of this patch with their rhythm guitar behind it because I just couldn't find another backing track. So anyways, little disclaimer, what you're hearing in there is not all just this preset, but there's enough of it where you can get the idea of how this preset works in the mix, all right? I was using my new Yamaha Pacifica 612, really amazing, wonderful guitar with Line 6 G10S wireless. So lots of fun new little toys to mess with. So let's dive over to HX Edit and take a look at what I did on this. So like I mentioned, I have two snapshots, rhythm and lead. I was kind of surprised when I dove into this how the lead had a bit of a different tonality to it, quite different to my ears anyways. It was a little bit darker and less cutting. So I'll show you the changes I made to that. So what I did to start with is I went with the Cali 4 lead. I believe from what I've read, they used, not obviously that Mesa amp, but they did use Mesa amps on Master of Puppets. So I just I wasn't really trying to pick exactly what they use, obviously different guitar and everything, but I just thought I would try this amp. What I did is I paired it up, not with the cab that defaults with it. I went with a 412 Greenback 25 with a 57 dynamic mic 1-inch back. If we go to the end of the chain, LA Studio Comp, did I do something on snapshots here? Oh yeah, okay, so snapshot on the rhythm channel, or snapshot, sorry, I had the peak reduction at 5, and on the lead I had it at 6, something I was hearing in the mix, I guess, just to let the lead sit a little bit better. So that's there, that's my normal thing to do. A little bit of a different settings here on the EQ than I would normally go with. The low frequency, this is the rhythm snapshot up here, is at 300 hertz, low Q of 5.7 and quite a boost of 5 dB. Mid frequency 600 with a Q of 2.2 and I pulled that back 12 dB. High frequency was set at 1.2 kilohertz, Q of 2.2 and a boost of 2 dB. Now on the rhythm snapshot, the low cut's at 80 hertz and the high cut's at 14 kilohertz. But on the lead snapshot, the low cut is at 100 hertz and the high cut's at 12 kilohertz. So a couple cool little twists and turns I was using on the different snapshots. Go back to the rhythm snapshot. Room reverb, decay 3.5, pre-delay of 11 milliseconds, mix 25%, just to give it a bit of ambience. There's obviously not tons of reverb on this sound, but just to give it more of the effect of sitting in a room, you know. I did use a delay on the lead. 220 beats per minute is roughly the tempo of the song, so I set it there. Quarter note was set on the note sync. Feedback is 16% and a mix of 35%, just to help the lead sit in the mix a little bit better. That was turned off on the rhythm. Split crossover, used it again, but this time at a very different frequency. Try to get a little more sizzle into the sound. Oh, sorry, my mic has dislodged itself here, sorry. Just trying to get a little bit more of the sizzle into the sound. So it's set at 5 kilohertz, and I went up 4 dB on all the frequencies above that and left everything below it alone. But on the lead snapshot, I only boosted those frequencies above that by 1 dB to get it to be a little bit darker. I already talked about the cab, and then here's the settings. So let's go to our rhythm settings. So my lead gain and lead drive on the Cali 4 lead were set at 7.5. Bass was at 1.5, mids at 0, treble at 9, channel volume at 8.5, presence at 10. Master was set at 5. Sag I brought all the way down to 0 and bias all the way up to 10. Those were kind of important settings for me to get closer to what I wanted here. And then I really dove in with the graphic EQ that comes with the Kali 4. Boosted 80 Hertz by 6.6 dB, 240 Hertz down 2.2 dB, 750 Hertz down 1.5 dB, that's not right. 750 Hertz down 13 dB, 2200 Hertz not touched, and 6600 Hertz up 2.5 dB. But on the lead, a few changes there. Lead and gain drive cranked to 10 to make up for the fact that I actually pulled the treble and the presence both back to 5, brought the mid up to 5, and brought the bass down to 0. Channel volume up to 10. Sag and all those deeper functions stay the same. And the 750 Hertz went from being down 13 dB to being up, down just 9 dB. So what are the, and I also, as I mentioned, I believe I already mentioned, the delay goes on the lead snapshots. Here's what the rhythm guitar part sounded like. All right, so that is the rhythm snapshot. What do you guys think? It's in the ballpark, you know. Again, it's gonna be really hard. You know, I haven't made that disclaimer in a while, but I'm really not trying to copy these tones exactly. Just sort of getting in the ballpark that's gonna work with different instruments. I'm obviously using very different equipment here than what Metallica was, and we can't even really be certain what they were using in the studio, right? So lead snapshot with all those changes I've already discussed. It's a little bit darker. It works nicely. A lot of people might find that there's not a lot of gain on these, or as much gain as you might think. You know, the rhythm snapshot, it has, there's enough gain on it, but I really wanted to avoid going much higher than I did. When I did, it got a little mushy and not as defined. And one of the big things about this is the definition in the notes, right? You really want to hear those notes pop out, right? And on the lead, like I said again, it's not a silly amount of gain. But it works nicely. So hopefully it works well with your guitars and on your monitoring system. Go listen to the performance video. Like I said, you'll hear these tones untouched in the mix and see how they sit. And that's what I do a lot of times is I'll create the patch in Helix to where I think it's close. I'll record the performance video with that preset, and I'll record the DI track as well. And then later while I'm mixing, I'll go in and import the preset I used to record into native, and then I'll reamp them through that, but I'll make the tweaks as I listen how it sits in the mix. So sometimes when you hear these outside of the mix, they might not sound exactly as you expect, but in the mix they sound kind of more authentic maybe, or closer to what it should be. So anyways, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you enjoy the preset. This will be up on Custom Tone when the video goes up, but please go check out the performance video. Let me know what you think. I threw this together actually pretty quick this morning, from everything from learning the solo to creating the preset and everything, but hopefully it's close and gets you guys something you can use for your old Metallica sounds, and gets you guys closer. So thanks for tuning in. Like the video, share it if you don't mind, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Really appreciate the support. Got a lot of fun stuff coming up in the very near future, and thanks again for tuning in, and we will talk very soon. Ciao for now.